This is a black-gilled lobster. This isn't a species. This is contamination.
You want healthy males and females reproducing in order to put larvae back into the water column.
Just one or two contaminated species can affect the entire food chain. In addition to animal poisoning, Dr. Felder, a biologist who has studied crustaceans for decades, has found populations falling at alarming rates.
The species richness, which means the number of different kinds of things that live there, and the abundance of the individual ones that comprise the set, or the assemblage as we call it, are diminished.
The U.S. government says seafood is safe to eat, but some scientists say that isn't the only concern people should have. One of the most important creatures in the food chain is the killifish.
I can't think of a worse animal to knock out of the food chain than a killifish. They've got lower heart rate, they've got lower hatching success, and their hearts aren't forming properly, which, as you might imagine, might be kind of bad news for an animal when it grows up.
The killifish is just one of the species being affected.
We have some evidence of deformed shrimp, which is another developmental impact. So that shrimp's grandmother was exposed to oil while the mother was developing, but it's the grandchild of the shrimp that was exposed, grows up with no eyes.
Government agencies have been testing seafood, but they don't link the defects to the chemicals from BP's spill. In fact, they don't even acknowledge there's a problem. Our questions to the government remain largely unanswered. We approached these federal agencies, but they wouldn't comment, instead referring us to another agency. It said it couldn't talk to the media because of its involvement in the lawsuit against BP. BP says there is evidence of lesions on fish before the spill, and the company is now paying to study long-term effects on seafood. In a statement to Al Jazeera, the company said,
"Seafood from the Gulf of Mexico is amongst the most tested in the world, and according to the FDA and NOAA, it's as safe now as it was before the accident."
After the Exxon Valdez oil disaster in Alaska in 1989, it took 4 years for the full impacts of the spill to be known. Here, in the Gulf of Mexico, 2 years on, some scientists say the impacts are already clear. Dar Jamail, Al Jazeera, New Orleans.